Hello, bookish girlies. It's been a minute. Almost 2 years to be exact since I last posted on YouTube. And honestly, so much has happened since then. I just wanted to say I'm sorry if you guys can hear the trash being picked up. Either the lawnmower, the leaf blower, now the trash can. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna get it done. And I know not to record on Tuesdays, I guess. I want to do a quick chit chat on what's been going on, as well as pick out my October TBR. My name is Nikki. I am a lover of all things creative. If you are new here, welcome. We are so happy to have you. And if you are not, welcome back. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So the last time I had posted, I was in a major reading slump, and the last book that I had read was 6 months prior. It was A Castle in Their Bones by Laura Sebastian. That book was so good. I absolutely devoured it. If you don't know it, it is about triplet girls who were essentially born and created through magic so that they can take over the other kingdoms. It's been their mom's plan this entire time. I actually believe that there is a sequel out now, and so I really want to pick that up because the story was so captivating, the writing was so well done, and being able to hop into each sister's perspective was so fun. And it honestly left off with a pretty good cliffhanger, so I need to reread that and get my hands on the second book. Then around January 2023, I really started getting into audiobooks because I was spending a lot of time driving, and in between class I would have a lot of time to listen to books. And so I thought it would be really fun if we did a quick overview of all the amazing series that I listened to since then, because there are so many. I will do a quick rundown of the books that I've listened to over the past couple years, give you a quick rating and a quick summary of the books. But if you guys would like for me to go into more in-depth details about any of the series that I mentioned before, feel free to comment down below if that is something that you would be interested in. First, we have Red Rising by Chris Brown. I have listened to all of the books associated with the series. It was originally a trilogy, and then since then there have been 3 more books published. I do believe that there is another one called Red God coming out soon. If you don't know about Red Rising, let me tell you a little bit about it. It's about a boy named Darrow, and at 16 he finds out that everything he's been told about his people's way of life has been a total lie. It dives into topics about caste systems and the idea that people were born to do certain things based off of their color, and not necessarily skin color in the way that we think about it, but they literally practice eugenics to create their caste system based off of colors. For example, our main character, Darrow, is a red. He is considered to be the bottom of this caste system. They are typically used as laborers, hard workers. He is a miner of helium. His people have been told that they have to mine helium-3 in order to terraform Mars for the rest of everyone else to come. So they have this idea that they are doing the hard work and sacrificing all of these years for everyone else for the greater good of humanity, only to find out that it's all been a lie. I would give the series overall a 5 stars. Honestly, again, the characters, I have never flipped-flopped between characters, felt such confusion between characters I've loved. Oh my gosh, the heartbreak and the love that I saw in and experienced myself in that series. This was honestly the first sci-fi series that I can say I've read and have actually loved. It definitely has opened my eyes up to a new genre of books, which is exciting. Next is, I wouldn't even really say it's a book series. It's an author I discovered. It's Anna Huang. She wrote the Twisted Love series. The Twisted Love series was how I was initially introduced to her as an author, and honestly, she has made me fall in love with romance all over again. after reading a couple of Book Talk's favorite romances and not really enjoying them, I was beginning to think that maybe the romance genre wasn't for me. And then I picked up her books through Audible, and I have loved them ever since. I am on her other series. I just picked up another book for another series. Honestly, it is my goal to have all of her books physically. I don't have any currently now, but I am borrowing books from a friend. She has her The King of Sin series. So good so far. I'm on book 2. I'll talk a bit more about those books later. Honestly, she's pretty much a 5-star read every time. I would say it'd be between a 4 and a 5, or like 5 and a 6, because I enjoy all of them, but maybe I enjoy some of them a bit more than the others. It is my personal mission for me to read her entire backlog. Like, mark my words, I will be getting that done. Expect to be hearing Anna Huang's name a lot from for the future. Then we have the Fourth Wing series by Rebecca Yarros. Overall, I would give the books that are out so far a 3 stars. If you don't know what it is about, this is a story about a young woman, Violet Soaringale, and she joins Basgiath War College as a writer, and we follow her journey throughout that. And the first book, honestly, like everyone else, had me in an absolute freaking chokehold. Reading that, I was so intrigued. I could be in the world and really enjoy it. I could understand the hype that was coming around it. As books then came out after that, I don't know, I guess I was just getting more and more disappointed. I felt like we were being shown so much more, but it wasn't really fleshed out. Like, we didn't, at least I didn't get as much information as I wanted to out of it. I wanted to learn so much more about the dragons and where they come from, and like Bond and all of those things. We got like the tiniest little look into what this world looks like, and I want more, and I really do hope that in following books we will get more details. The last major series is The Dark Tower by Stephen King. This series honestly was an absolute roller coaster. So a very basic description of it: we have a gunslinger, and he is on the quest to the Dark Tower. This has been his life's work. He's been training for this since he was a kid. He has to make his way to the Dark Tower in order to save essentially the universe, the world, the timeline, to save time in general. And along the way, he meets 3 other people, and we follow their journey along the way to the Dark Tower. That description, even though I felt like I was already giving a little bit of spoilers, does not even begin to cover the depth in which this story goes into. Like, it was so creative, and it had so many different themes that I hadn't personally read before. I would say that my reading is still so rudimentary. If you couldn't tell from my background, I am still very much stuck in this house that made me, you know what I mean? I can never get over my love for dystopia, my love for high fantasy. And so I will say, like, I'm not the most diverse reader at the moment, but reading Stephen King for the first time and it not being It or The Shining or any of his other ones, those are like traditional horror stories. This one is like an actual adventure, and I wouldn't consider it fantasy, but it's almost fantasy. That is the best way I can describe it right now. This story spans over 8 books. Like, some of the books I believe are longer than 24 hours on Audible. Like, excuse me, who asked for a book that long? Like, who needs a book that long? But you already know that Stephen King is going to be the one that writes it. It took me 2 years to finish all 8 books. It was something that me and my fiance were listening to together. It was our thing for the longest time. We would listen to it while cooking dinner or while driving together, and being able to experience that with someone and have someone who's already like listened to the stories like a gajillion times was actually really nice. So I would have to say that this is another 5-star read, 100%. But geez, like, Stephen King can write a freaking story. I feel like it was very much a Stephen King novel, but it was very different from all the rest of his mainstream stuff. I honestly highly recommend you getting into him. I will say that I would say there's mature content in all of the books that I've mentioned so far, So just like take that with a grain of salt, do your research, you know. Now the biggest change that I would like to talk about really quickly, I don't know if you picked it up when I was talking about the books before, but I'm engaged. That's right. At the time of filming my last video, I wasn't even in a relationship. And now in January, I am going to be a wife. Like, that's actually so crazy to me, and it's heartwarming to look back at where I was even just almost 3 years ago and to see where I'm at now. It's, oh my gosh, it's crazy. So I met my fiance a few months after filming my last video. So I guess it's technically been more than 2 years since I last filmed, because our 3-year anniversary is going to be in January. So, oh no, yeah, it's almost been 3 years. That's crazy. Like, honestly, the past 3 years being in this relationship has been so healing for me, and he has honestly been a large part in me getting back into reading and writing. And so I had to talk about it for a little bit, because if it wasn't for him, who knows if I would be getting back into this. He really encourages me to strive for my dreams, and this is something that I really want to do. It would be really nice to turn this into a career someday, you know, to be a writer, to be someone who makes content on YouTube. Being with him really creates that space for me and opens up all the creativity that I feel like I'd been missing for a while. He honestly gave me my spark back, and it feels really good. And as I just mentioned, I have also gotten back into writing, and I would love to document my writing journey on YouTube. This would be something I'm going to hold myself accountable, as well as to have something that I can look back and reflect on years later and see how far I've come. I know that a lot of people know me from a TikTok that I made, I mean, pretty much like 5 years ago. At the time, I was only 19. I wasn't really ready to have so many eyes on me, even though it had been a dream of mine for the longest time to be a YouTuber and to be a writer. I wasn't really expecting such an influx of people to come my way. And I know, even though I asked people to send me their OCs so that I could put them in my books, I wasn't expecting to go from 20 followers to 20,000 followers basically overnight, where people had such large expectations of me to create something that they could really relate to. And I really wanted to do that. And then the imposter syndrome kicked in so hard, and I pretty much ghosted since then. And I'm really sorry about that. While looking back, I really do wish that I had handled that situation better, because imagine where I'd be now. Like, actually, if I had been consistent since then, I would be 5 years into my writing journey. Who knows who I would have been. And at the same time, I believe that life happens for a reason, and I do not think that I was ready at that time. Now I feel like I am finally in a space in my life where I'm ready to really wholeheartedly push for my dreams and what I want out of life. I will be 25 next year, and I have grown so much since then, and I plan to continue to grow so much more. A quick disclaimer, like I said, I am writing, but the book that I'm currently writing is not the one I was working on before, and I don't think I plan on working on it for the foreseeable future. I really just want to be writing for me right now. If and when there comes a time that I am ready to publish, I really want to publish something that I am proud of. So if you want to see me go through my writing journey, click the subscribe button below. I actually have a pretty fun Preptober video coming. If you don't know what that is, Preptober is basically the month to prepare for November, NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. I don't plan on using the traditional program. It's just the word that I use for it. But I do plan on finishing my first novel by the end of November. I have a pretty fun Preptober video coming out soon, and so make sure to hit the bell and make sure that your notifications are on so you get notified when that video comes out. Now, let's get into the fun part, picking out my October TBR with my TBR jar. Before we get into the TBR jar picks, which I'm super excited for, I wanted to go over a couple books that I already have on my TBR. First one is King of Pride. I am a little less than like 2/3 of the way through this book. I plan on finishing this one very soon. I intended to finish this one a couple weeks ago, but life has just been really crazy. I've been going through a lot of life changes and rescheduling, rearranging my schedule, just figuring out how I want to operate on a day-to-day basis. And so reading regularly did get put on the back burner last month, but this is book 2 in her King of Sins series. So this will be 7, yes, this one will be 7 books, and this one is book 2, King of Pride. The first one was King of Wrath, which I did listen on Audible, but my lovely friend is a huge romance reader, and so she has pretty much all the books up to date at this point at home, and so she has been allowing me to borrow the books. And so I do plan on doing the King of Pride, and then the third one in the series, the next one in this series would be the King of Greed. So I plan on finishing the King of Pride and the King of Greed, which I'll put here, this month in October. And so the next book is The Striker. This is book 1, and I don't even know what this series is called, because I already know the next one, Defender, just recently came out. Okay, so I just looked this one up. This series is the God of Games, the Gods of Games series. It is a soccer romance, which is actually really fun. I have never read a sports romance, so I'm actually really excited to read this one. But this does have a dual purpose for me. I find the way that Anna Huang writes to be very inspiring. I feel like when it comes to tone and structure, I have a hard time really understanding how a book, I guess, is supposed to be created. I feel like I have great ideas. I feel like I want to write about them, and then I don't really know what to do from there. So I thought it would be really cool to just see how this book is set up structurally, just in terms of dialogue and prose and description, just how everything balances itself out to have a general idea of what a book should look like. To be honest, I just wanted another reason to read one of her other books. Like, I could have done this with any other book. I just really like her stories, and I am currently writing a romance. Yes, that will be really fun. I think I'm gonna do a video annotating this book, I guess. We shall see. The last book that is currently already on my TBR is... So this is Alchemized by Sin Yu. If you haven't heard of this story or the history behind this book, let me explain it to you really fast. This was originally a Hermione, Draco, and Hermione fan fiction that then eventually got traditionally published. It was first written on AO3 under the name Manacled, and I read that around the time that my TikTok video had kind of popped off a little bit, and I was absolutely obsessed with it. So when I was told that I would actually be able to have that story on my shelves, of course I was super excited. Essentially, think of Manacled. So Manacled was post-World War Harry Potter, but Voldemort won, and The Handmaid's Tale. Essentially, Hermione was sent to be a wife for Draco. This book has been rewritten to essentially take out all of the Harry Potter elements. It takes place in a new world. There's new world building. Instead of wizards, we are surrounded by alchemists and necromancers. And yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. That will actually be next week's video. I'm going to do a reading vlog for this one. I'm going to attempt to read it in 24 hours. I don't know if I'll be successful, but that is definitely the goal. If you want to see me go through the emotional roller coaster that is Alchemized by Sin Yu, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos in the future. It is time for my TBR jar, and honestly I should label this, and it doesn't look like a lot. I promise you there are a good amount of prompts in here. This is an old candle that I just repurposed as my TBR jar. Most people have like really big TBR jars, and I knew if I had anything bigger than this that it would look really unique, but there's actually some really good ones in here. So let's get into picking and figuring out what books we are going to be reading in the month of October. Let's get the first pick going. Okay, let's see. Ooh, okay, this one is fun. This one is shortest title. So let me see what I have on my shelf that has short titles. So I have 4 books off of my shelf. They are the ones with the shortest titles. They're either one-word titles or it's like the and like one really short word. This is The List by Siobhan Vivian. I picked this book up like late middle school. at a thrift store forever ago. I brought it along with me because it's mine, I guess. And when I moved out, I took all of my books with me, but I never actually read it. So I feel like this definitely qualifies for the TBR. Here is the synopsis. Prettiest, ugliest. It happens every year before homecoming. The list is posted all over school. 2 girls are picked from each grade. One is named the prettiest, one the ugliest. The girls who aren't picked are quickly forgotten. The girls who are become the center of attention, and each reacts differently to the experience. Abby's joy at being named prettiest is clouded by her sister's resentment. Danielle worries about how her boyfriend will take the news. Lauren is a homeschool girl blindsided by her instant popularity. Candace isn't ugly, not even close, so it must be a mistake. Bridget knows her summer transformation isn't something to celebrate. Sarah has always rebelled against traditional standards of beauty, and she decides to take her mutiny to the next level. And Margot and Jennifer, ex-best friends, who haven't spoken in years, are forced to confront why their relationship ended. With the list, Siobhan Vivian definitely takes you into the lives of 8 very different girls struggling with issues of identity, self-esteem, and the judgments of their peers. Prettiest or ugliest, once you're on the list, you'll never be the same. Okay, honestly, I feel like this would be a really good read, just like as a woman, to experience the minds of other teenage girls going through something like this. Like personally, obviously, I have never been the victim of a list like this, but I think it would be really interesting to kind of be back in my high school headspace as an adult now, and to kind of be able to look back and I guess appreciate where I can or can't relate to these girls, but then also to see how far I have come as a person who used to be a teenage girl in high school. Next, we have Find Me by Andre Ackerman. I believe it's how it's pronounced, Andre Ackerman. This is the second book in the Call Me By Your Name duology. This takes place, I believe, a few years after that book series where they end up meeting again. I do think that this one has a bit more of a conclusion. Editing Nikki here. I am not sure why I said book series at that part. There's only one book. It's called Call Me By Your Name. There's no series. It's a duology. The first book ended. This one picks up a few years after all of that. Now that I'm remembering it, I feel like I read some of this, so I'm not sure if I would pick this one because I feel like I'm having some flashbacks to reading this a couple years ago. If you don't know what the Call Me By Your Name books are about, it is about a relationship between a young man and his dad's friend. The 2 characters are gay. They kind of engage in an interesting relationship over the summer while he is visiting in Italy. The movie was really good. The next one on the list, we have Circe by Madeline Miller. Circe is a Greek, I guess, retelling. In the house of Helios, god of the sun and mightiest of the Titans, a daughter is born. But Circe is a strange child, not obviously powerful like her father or viciously alluring like her mother. Turning to the world of mortals for companionship, she discovers that she does possess power, the power of witchcraft, which can transform rivals into monsters and menace the gods themselves. Threatened, Zeus banishes her to a deserted island where she hones her occult craft, tames wild beasts, and crosses paths with many of the most famous figures in all of mythology, including the Minotaur Daedalus. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm butchering that name. And his doomed son Icarus, the murderous Medea, and of course, wily Odysseus. But there is danger too for a woman who stands alone, and Circe unwittingly draws the wrath of both men and gods, ultimately finding herself pitted against one of the most terrifying and vengeful of the Olympians. To protect what she loves most, Circe must summon all of her strength and choose, once and for all, whether she belongs with the gods she is born from or the mortals she has come to love. With unforgettably vivid characters, mesmerizing language, and page-turning suspense, Circe is a triumph of storytelling, intoxicating epic of family rivalry, palace intrigue, love, lost, as well as a celebration of indomitable female strength in a man's world. This one, okay, reading the synopsis really did pique my interest. I'm not going to lie. I like the idea of reading the list, but this one, it sounds way more intriguing. It sounds like it would actually be a pretty fun adventure. Kind of on the same theme, I believe we have another Greek-inspired story. This is Lore by Alexandria Brecken. I picked this book up, I believe, at a Costco at some point. I believe getting this channel started, it might take a minute for me to find books that actually lie within my voice. I feel like between 2020 and now, I've picked up a lot of books that are very popular online that may not necessarily translate into what I like. So I just have like a lot of popular book talk books on my shelf. Eventually, I would like to diversify. I did get a little bit into this one as well and did not finish it. I feel like a lot of books that I've picked up due to TikTok have suffered the same fate. But with shortest title, I'm just gonna read it. I don't think I'm gonna pick this one today. Yeah, I got like 80 pages in and was like, no, which is actually kind of crazy. Every 7 years, the Agon begin. As punishment for the past rebellion, 9 Greek gods, oh, that's right, okay. 9 Greek gods are forced to walk the earth as mortals. They are haunted by the descendants of ancient bloodlines, all eager to kill a god and seize their divine power and immortality. Long ago, Lore Perseus fled the brutal world, turning her back on the hunt's promise of eternal glory after her family was murdered by a rival line. For years, she pushed away any thought of revenge against the man, now a god responsible for their deaths. Yet, as the next hunt dawns over New York City, 2 participants seek her out. Castor, a childhood friend Lore believed to be dead, and Athena, one of the last original gods, now gravely wounded. The goddess offers Lore an alliance against the mutual enemy and a way to leave the Agon behind forever. Binding her fate to Athena's will come at a deadly cost, and it may not be enough to stop the rise of a new god with the power of bringing humanity to its knees. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea why I didn't finish this, because I do remember this concept and I do remember it sounding really cool, but for some reason I got 9 chapters in and wasn't, I guess, fully captivated. It wasn't necessarily something that I was looking for, and so I put it down. Again, while this concept does sound really interesting, I do not think that it is going to work out today. Also, my battery's gonna die. So with those 4 options, we have Lore, we have Find Me, we have The List, and we have Circe. And I do believe that Circe is going to be the first book from the TBR jar pick for October. Sorry if the lighting was a little bit different than it was before. I did end up having to charge my camera after the last clip. So let's continue on. We're already like 4 books into the TBR, so I don't know, maybe I'll pick out like 2 or 3 more, just so I also have options. Like, I'm not gonna pressure myself to try and read a certain amount every month. I think the TBR videos are super fun, and I think it's a great way to help myself at least have some kind of reading goal, but I don't want to necessarily restrict myself to that reading goal, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be disappointed because I didn't reach an X amount of numbers of books in a month. Like, that's not what this is about. We're here to have fun, right? Okay. Let's see. The next prompt that we got is, that's actually so funny. So the next one is, I don't know if you can read that. A book you found on TikTok. As I mentioned earlier, that's actually a lot of the books on my shelf, so that shouldn't be too hard to pick out. Okay. So for the 3 books that I did end up picking, I wanted to pick something that I felt like I would actually read because, like I mentioned before, a lot of the books that I have on my current shelf that are unread are because of TikTok, and those don't necessarily perfectly align with what I'm trying to read right now, but there are a couple I think would be pretty interesting. So the first one we have is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake? It's not Olivia. Anyway, so this is The Atlas 6. From my knowledge, I think I read like a few of the pages, like when I first got this a while back. But from my knowledge, this is a dark academia book which I think would actually be really good for the fall vibe. So the synopsis says, seek it if you wish, but as with all knowledge, whatever follows will be yours to bear alone. Each decade, only the 6 most uniquely talented magicians are selected to earn a place in the Alexandria Society, the foremost secret society in the world. The chosen will secure a life of power and prestige beyond their wildest dream, but at what cost? Each of the 6 newest recruits has their reasons for accepting the society's elusive invitation, even if it means growing closer than they could have imagined to their most dangerous enemies, or risking unforgivable betrayal from their most trusted allies. They will fight tooth and nail for the right to join rank of the Alexandrian, even if it meant they won't all survive the year. Okay, T. So I do remember reading the beginning of this. I remember meeting some of the characters, and I actually thought it was pretty good going forward. I can't 100% remember why I didn't finish this book. That might be a theme here. Again, with a lot of the books on my shelf at the moment. That is 100% my fault, and I am hoping to, over time, expand my bookshelves. That was the Atlas 6 pick. We also have The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I had initially seen this book on McKenna Love's content. Quite frankly, I love her channel. She's not just a booktuber. I think she does mostly end up talking about books, but that's not like everything she's into, which I find really cool and admiring. Basically delve into all the things that she likes and to post it on YouTube. And one of the other things that I really like about her is that she has some of the most unique book recommendations that I have ever heard of. And I heard of this book on her channel first, and then it blew up all over TikTok after that. So I didn't necessarily get it because of TikTok, but I felt like it fit close enough since it did become pretty viral on TikTok. It reads, when a teenager vanishes from her Adirondack summer camp, 2 worlds collide. Early morning, August 1975, a camp counselor discovers an empty bunk. Its occupant, Barbara Van Laar, has gone missing. Barbara isn't just any 13-year-old. She's the daughter of the family that owns the summer camp and employs most of the region's residents. And this isn't the first time a Von Laar child has disappeared. Barbara's older brother similarly vanished 14 years ago, never to be found. As a panicked search begins, a thrilling drama unfolds, chasing down the layered mysteries of the Von Laar family. The blue-collar community living and working in the shadows, The God of the Woods is a story of inheritance and second chances, the tension between family and community, and a history that will not let any of them go. This sounds pretty good. It does sound like fall vibes. It's a bit of a mystery, maybe some suspense, maybe there's a murder or something. I think that could be really fun for October, actually. And last but not least for this prompt, we have Gallant by V.E. Schwab's. I did pick this one up because of TikTok. I haven't read any of V.E. Schwab's books, but I have 2 of them on my shelf, including this one. And I was thinking this one probably would be the most likely for me to pick up. If I'm remembering this correctly, this is a Secret Garden retelling. The shadows are not real. The dreams can never hurt you. You will be safe as long as you stay away from Gallant. All her life, Olivia Pryor has wondered who she truly is and where she belongs. Her only clue is a slim, battered journal. Her mother's journal full of entries that seem to show that she was unraveling, and drawings that look like blots of ink, until Olivia notices a hand, a door, a bloom, a skull. Then a letter beckons Olivia home, to Gallant, the one place her mother's journal warns her to never go. Olivia goes anyway. Of course she does. What she finds in her last living relative in her family's manor, a manor with a ballroom, a sitting room, a study, and a sprawling, vibrant garden, and the crumbling ruin of a garden wall with an iron door. A door she must never open. But no one at Gallant sent Olivia that letter. No one will tell her what haunts her cousin's dreams, what happened to her mother, or what lies on the other side of the wall. Did the shadows call Olivia home? What will they ask her in return? Ooh, everything casts a shadow, even the world we live in. Okay, that actually sounds really good. I feel like these are some really good options. Like, which one am I gonna pick? Okay, really just think about what is gonna put me in the right mood. They all kind of have like a mystery vibe, some elements of danger. I actually feel like these are 3 books that compare enough but are also vastly different. Okay. I'm gonna go Gallant by V.E. Schwab's because I'm thinking about what's already on my list, and I have a feeling I'm gonna need a break after Manacles, and I am not ready to dive into something like these that maybe involve a bit more reading comprehension, a bit more brain work. Not to say that this doesn't. I've seen The Secret Garden. It was one of my favorite movies growing up and also one of my favorite books growing up, and so it's like I kind of have a general gist of what the story could be like, but it also has like enough spooky vibes for October. So the next book for the prompt, a book I found on TikTok, is Gallant. Oh, I guess I'm doing it. Okay. Alright. I call this the last prompt. I don't want to overwhelm my TBR. Let's see. Horse on cover. Okay. Horse on the cover. That could actually be kind of interesting. So for the prompt horse on the cover, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different books on my shelf. So let's just go over them really quick. I was a little bit of a, okay, I'm not even gonna lie, I wasn't even a little bit of a horse girl. I am a huge horse girl. I love horses. They are my heart and soul. I want to own horses someday. It's on my vision board to get back into riding. And so yeah, horses are everything to me. And a couple of these books I read over and over and over again growing up because I felt like I could relate to them so much. Let's see. So this is a part of the Starlight Animal Rescue series. I only read this first book. I believe I found this one in a thrift store, saw I had a horse on the cover, and immediately picked it up. I've run away 7 times, never once to anything, just away from. Maybe that's why they call me a runaway and not a run-to. Meet 16-year-old Dakota Brown. She used to love all things horse until she lost everything, including hope. The minute she set foot on her foster parents' farm, Starlight Animal Rescue, she plans to escape. But can an impossible horse named Blackfire and this quirky collection of animal lovers be the family she's always dreamed of? Starlight Animal Rescue, where problem horses are trained and loved, where abandoned dogs become heroes, where stray cats become loyal companions, and where people with nowhere to fit in find a place to belong. Not only was I a horse girl, but I am also an adopted horse girl. I was actually adopted pretty young by my parents, and I did run away a few times, or at least attempted to. And so just reading this and it being like an older girl, I definitely looked up a lot to Dakota Brown. I loved how the story came full circle in the end. Actually, reading the description reminds me of one of my favorite shows, Heartland, which is a Canadian, basically horse girl show. Her mom, the girl Amy, her mom used to bring in troubled teenagers essentially to help try to rehabilitate them and give them a place to call home and to give them some kind of responsibilities. But yeah, this one's actually a pretty good option for a cleanser read throughout this month. So I'm definitely going to keep this one in mind. This one is Chosen by a Horse. I don't remember what this one's about, but I have a feeling it has similar themes. So the horse Susan Richards chose for rescue wouldn't be corralled into her waiting trailer, but lay me down, a former racehorse with a full close on her heels, walked right up that ramp and into Susan's life. Weak from malnutrition, Lay Me Down had endured a rough road, but somehow her heart was still open and generous. Then fate brought her into Susan's paddock, where she taught this broken-hearted woman how to embrace the joys of life despite the dangers of living. Susan Richards thought she was rescuing a starved, abused, abandoned mare. Turns out, Lay Me Down was rescuing Susan Richards. An incredibly moving story, beautifully written and thought. That was a review. Okay, so Susan Richards is the author of this. Okay, yes, this is a memoir. Actually, that's kind of interesting. I don't think I knew that. Because this is one of those like thrift store books that I picked up as a kid. I saw it had a horse on it. I thought it was interesting and I read it. I might have to reread this one because I didn't know it was a memoir. And I think rereading it as an adult would actually be really interesting. So next we have Rising Hope by Kim Meter. Again, all 3 of these books I got from a thrift store at some point and read it at some point. Where wounded spirits run free, follow a horse where no one else can tread, through the minefield of pain that surrounds a broken child's soul, from a mistreated horse to an emotionally starved child, and back again. A torrent of love revives their barren places. In the presence of unconditional love, a mute girl speaks speaks for the first time. A defiant teenager teaches a horse to trust again and open his own heart. A rescue horse gives a dying man his last wish. A battered girl finds love and protection in the friendship of a battered horse. Come visit the place where impossible flourishes, where dreams survive the inferno of reality, a place where hope rises. Hope rising. This one also could be pretty good. I feel like with the three of these, they could all kind of fall in the same line, just depending on how serious I want to get with it. And then for the last one, totally a different vein, we have The Longest Ride by Nicholas Sparks. I love Nicholas Sparks. I fell in love with him with the movie A Walk to Remember, and then my grandma gifted me that book. And ever since then, I pick up any Nicholas Sparks book that I see. This is one that I actually found at my little free library that's just down the road actually from my current place. And I haven't had the chance to read it. But I was like, oh, a Nicholas Sparks book I don't own. Gotta catch it. The Longest Ride. Ira Livingston is in trouble. A 91-year-old in poor health and alone in the world, he finds himself stranded on an isolated embankment after a car crash. Suffering multiple injuries, he struggles to retain consciousness until a blurry image materializes and comes back into focus beside him. His beloved wife, Ruth, who passed away 9 years ago. Urging him to hang on, she forces him to remain alert by reminiscing about their lifetime together, how they met, the precious paintings they collected, the dark days of World War II and its effects on them and their families. Ira knows that Ruth can't possibly be in the car with him, but he clings to her words and his memory, reliving the sorrows and joys that defined their marriage. A few miles away, a local bull riding event, a Wake Forest University senior's life is about to change. Recovering from a recent breakup, Sophia Danko meets a young cowboy named Luke, who bears little resemblance to the privileged frat boy she has encountered at school. Through Luke, Sophia is introduced to a world in which the stakes are higher. Reward and ruin, even life and death, loom large in everyday life. As she and Luke fall in love, Sophia finds herself imagining a future far, far removed from her plans, a future that Luke has the power to fulfill. If the secret he's keeping doesn't destroy it first. Ira and Ruth, Sophia and Luke, two couples who have little in common and who are separated by years and experience, yet their lives will converge with unexpected poignancy, reminding us all that even the most difficult decisions can yield extraordinary journeys beyond despair, beyond death, to the forever reaches of the human heart. Oh my gosh. Okay, so basically what I'm hearing is that it doesn't matter what book I pick, I'm going to be heartbroken either way. It would be best to pick the book based on how heartbroken I want to be. I don't think I can do a Nicholas Sparks. Like, I have so much romance on my TBR right now. I do not think I could pick another one up right now. I think I need the variety of something else. So it won't be Nicholas Sparks, The Longest Ride, although this one might have to come up again soon. These three are so good. Okay, I think I'm going to pick Starlight Rescue Runaway. It's like I said before, I feel like this one would be a really nice palate cleanser in between having to read Alchemized and a few other books. I don't want to necessarily, again, overwhelm myself with all the books that I could possibly read. And I feel like if I'm having a moment of, hey, I need something else to look into, I can easily pick this book up and have a nice little palate cleanser. Okay, so with that being said, that's all the books that I have for my TBR. Let's go over them. First up, we have King of Pride by Anna Huang. I am already mostly done with this one, and I will be picking up the next one in the series. So that's books 1 and 2 for our October TBR. Then for book 3, we also have The Striker, also by Anna Huang. Book 4, we have, ooh, this is a big boy. We have Alchemized by Anna Huang. And then now to get into the books for the prompts. For the book with the shortest title, we chose Circe by Madeline Miller. For the book that I got because of TikTok, we chose Gallant by V.E. Schwabs. And last but not least, we have Starlight Animal Rescue Runaway by Dandy Daily Mackle. Dandy Daily Mackle. And that is all of the books for our October TBR. How fun. Oh my gosh. If you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and I really appreciate you staying this long. If you really enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and comment down below what book you're most excited to read this October in the comment section below. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you later in my nook of the internet.